Do you want to continue playing? Or if you want to start over, enter a new name.
Learn to play chess with Fritz and Chester. Part 3. Chess for Winners.
I could watch that over and over again.
Me too.
King Black was really annoyed back then.
Yeah, strange really that we haven't heard anything from him for so long. Oh no, why can't I keep my big mouth shut?
Now just look who we've got here. King White's babies. Prince Fritz and his fair cousin, Little Miss Sweet and Innocent.
Hey, my name is Bianca.
Bianca, sweet and innocent then. It's all the same to me. It's just as well I bumped into you both. I've got a few bones to pick with you.
Too right. We just watched it again. We were right on. The cake landed right in the middle of your face back then. Ha ha ha!
Yes, but I've made some arrangements. And I'm soon going to get my own back.
Hang on a sec. Do you mean we have to fight a duel with you again? You must be mistaken.
Yeah, exactly. Because actually all we want to do here is have a little bit of fun.
We'll see about that. See you around.
Hello, you two. What brings you here?
We're here to have some fun. And what about you, King Kaleidoscope? I suppose it's the food.
Yes, eat and let eat. That's my motto. I thought that a no-frills snack bar would be just the right thing at the Pleasantville Village Fair, especially seeing that everything else at the fair is anything but normal. Remember the Pleasantville pawns with their strange customs? Anyway, at my stall, everything is quite normal, so you can really relax.
And what exactly do you sell here?
All kinds of things, like sea cucumbers in jellyfish compote, or chamber pot of squashed squid, and lots of other delicious Old English leftover delights.
Ugh.
Yes, that's what they all say. Not to worry, I'll just eat it all myself. Thank heavens for anything that fills you up, as I like to say. What about having a look inside?
Okay, but only if we don't have to eat anything.
Hey, it's really packed in here.
Yes, 16 kings. That's all there's room for. King Crimson, King Blue, good old King Prancelot and all the rest, whatever their names are. Sadly, these gentlemen can't eat anything. They've run out of money. Not to mention the fact that King Black has already ruined their appetites.
What's he done now?
He's stolen their chess chubbies.
Chess Chubbies?
Yes, they'd won such nice ones too. They were prizes in the raffle and at the shooting gallery. You know what it's like at a fair. And by the time each of them had finally won a chubby, they'd spent all their pocket money.
And what's all this got to do with King Black?
He got their chubbies back off them. He made a bet against each of them that they couldn't beat him. And of course, they couldn't, because he cheats all the time. The only trouble is that we just can't prove it.
So why don't they all just go and get new Chubbies?
Because they've spent all their pocket money.
In that case, we'll get them some new ones. Come on, let's go and see what we can find.
What's going on? What's going on? Oh, it's you two.
Hello, Chester. What are you doing here?
Got my own attraction, of course. Chester's Flea Circus. Well, you want to see some action? Ready, steady, jump!
Cool!
To be honest, I didn't actually see the flea.
Well, of course you didn't, because it's escaped. Will you help me find him?
Okay, we will if in return you help us to get a few chess chubbies for the kings in King Kaleidoscope's tent.
I can put in a good word for you with my colleagues. After all, my Flea Circus is one of the main attractions here.
Does it really work at the moment? I mean, without the flea.
Now this is a real art form, putting on a flea circus when the fleas disappeared. You just pretend. That's the fun of it. Shall I show you?
Sure thing.
Okay, here we go. On the diving board, you'll see an important piece. Up to now, it was my flea's job to hop onto the square the piece had to go to so that King Purple was checkmated. But now that my flea's gone, you can take over his job. Where does the piece on the diving board have to go so that King Purple is mated?
How do we checkmate again?
If you can't quite remember how to checkmate your opponent, have a look in my organizer.
Hang on a sec. I think I know where this piece has to go.
Then click on the square.
Is that right? That must be checkmate.
It sure is. And then comes the next position, because here it's all about speed.
So in a short space of time, we have to do as many checkmates as possible?
Exactly. Sometimes there are several squares the piece can go on. Then it doesn't matter which one you choose. And by the way, you have to click on the bell to start.
So let's just click on it.
Hi there, you two. What about a little snack? Starfish crumble to stop your tummy rumble? And of course, heaps of sugar on top. That's a promise.
Starfish crumble. Very nice, I'm sure. But I'll pass.
Even better, all the more for me. As I like to say, a healthy mind thrives on a full stomach.
If you say so. Well, enjoy it. Hello there. We're collecting chess chubbies. Can we maybe have yours? It's for a good cause.
For a good cause? Well, I'll see what I can do then. But you'll have to solve a few puzzles in return. I mean, if you're not going to buy any of my balloons, I still want to have a little bit of fun.
Why do they look so strange?
What's so strange about them? They look like bishops. And that's all got something to do with the puzzles I was talking about. Before we start racking our brains, I'd like to explain something to you. Look at this. What do you notice?
The Purple King looks as if he's been mated. One of the bishops has put him in check, and the other one is making sure that he can't sneak off sideways.
He can't move down either. The White King is making sure of that. He's got his swords out. Things aren't looking too good for poor King Purple.
You see, that's how good a mate with two bishops can look. Great, isn't it? And now let's get on with the puzzle I promised.
Not so fast, my friend. I think that needs a little more explanation. What we can see here is actually only the final result, but we haven't seen how to get there yet. And that's quite tricky. But you can learn how to do it, and once you've got the hang of it, you'll really be able to impress people.
So what do we have to do?
The key to delivering mate with two bishops is to force your opponent's king into the nearest corner. This is the balloon square. If the king goes there because he has to get out of check, the balloon will burst and mate is near.
But I don't suppose he goes there of his own free will, just like that.
Quite right. The important thing now is for the White King to keep him nicely out on the edge. The two bishops do all the rest. It's highly skilled teamwork. One of the bishops has blocked the way here already, so that the purple king can't escape off to the left. And the other one is about to put him in check.
Like this, maybe. And check. King Purple has to flee.
Exactly. It's like being in prison. The only thing he can do now is move to the right.
Do you know what I think? He can see a way of getting past the balloon square here. But he hasn't thought about what the White King is planning. Wham! Now the escape route has been sealed off.
He can't get past there now. Yoo-hoo! The balloon's about to burst. Funny. Why hasn't it burst? Whatever. Who cares? The bishops can still carry on with their little game. What about this? Hey, you there. What do you say to that?
Stop! I wouldn't do that.
And why not, if I may ask?
You might be able to work that out for yourself if you think about King Purple's next move.
Well, that's obvious, isn't it? He'll just go. Oh, yes. Where will he just go?
That's what I mean. He can't move anymore. Even though he isn't in check at the moment, he can't move to any other square. If he moved here, he'd be in check by the bishop. And here, the White King's swords are drawn. As you well know, that's stalemate, a draw. That would be annoying, as you easily could have won here.
Drat, can we try again?
Sure. Okay, let's take back the last move. The trick is that at the end, King Purple mustn't just move into the corner of his own accord. It only works if he goes there to escape from check.
So first of all, White must let him get out of the corner.
Right. This move is really just playing for time, and it doesn't make any difference to King Purple being held captive. The big difference is that it's now his turn to move. And that is what is now going to lead to his downfall.
Now the bishops can really get down to work and make the prison even smaller. Check. Get lost.
Wow! The balloons burst. And Purple will be mated on the next move.
And now it looks exactly like what you saw at the beginning. To sum it all up, if you have two bishops and a king, and your opponent's king is on his own, he doesn't stand a chance. Provided, of course, you remember 4 things. First, the bishops work well as a team and keep making the king's prison smaller and smaller. Second, your king has to seal off any escape routes and force your opponent's king to the edge. Third, the two bishops work together to drive the king into the corner, and your king makes sure that the other one doesn't get away. Fourth, there's always the danger of stalemate in the corner. That's why your opponent's king always has to move into the corner to get out of check so that he can be mated. Making moves which play for time will often help here.
Heard enough? Then here's one of my little puzzles, or to be more precise, a task. Get the purple king into the corner and deliver mate.
You know more or less what to do now. If you need any help, you can read it up on that piece of paper.
And that was the last move, mate. Check and mate. Surprised you, didn't I?
Winning is one of my hobbies.
Game over and out. We've won.
Game over. Checkmate.
And that was the last move, mate. Check and mate. Surprised you, didn't I?
Heavens above! You solved my little puzzles brilliantly. You really do deserve your reward.
A chubby rabbit for King Uglymug. My dears, you are simply the best.
I thought that was obvious.
And congratulations from me, too. You're top-notch. If you want, I'll show you some more super special tricks for experts. Anyone interested?
Well, we can have a look at them at least.
Oops. The other king is nowhere near the edge here. What are we going to do now?
The best corner to put him in check is this one back here. So now let's make sure he goes there.
Great idea. And what if he doesn't want to?
He has no choice, Bianca. The bishops are in a nice position here, next to each other. This is how you quite often see them because they can be especially useful like this. One of them is watching over the light squares. The other is guarding the dark squares, just like they are here. The white king is helping with opposition. Now purple has no other choice but to somehow move inside his prison.
Drat. Now the stupid fool isn't going backwards. He's going sideways.
So let's force him even more to the side. The most important thing is that we get him to the edge as soon as possible. It doesn't matter which one.
Aha! I get it. And now it continues just like it did before. The three of them frighten him off into the balloon corner where they can deliver mate.
King Purple is now in check and has to make a move. But even though the bishops are a great team, it won't work without the white king. That's why he has to move in. It's his job to keep King Purple on the edge.
Hey, careful. Otherwise, the bishop will be captured on the next move.
So what now? I'd say he should just move to the safety of his king. And whether King Purple likes it or not, he must move another step nearer to the edge.
To the edge of ruin, so to say.
That's right. The white king follows hard on his heels because, as we said, that's where he's most needed. King Purple doesn't really have much choice anymore. To be honest, there's only one square he can go to, the one in the corner. And that's where he goes now.
Hang on a sec. Stop. Didn't you say that it only works if he has to go there to get out of check?
Well done, Bianca. And that's exactly why white now has to lure him out once again. But at the same time, it's important to make sure that it doesn't end in stalemate. That'd be a real shame because white has as good as won already.
I think the best thing to do is to play for time. The prison is still standing firm, and now it's purple's turn.
There's nothing else he can do anyway.
And now white's going in for the kill. The king's got his swords drawn in opposition. Purple is forced into the corner again. But unfortunately, he hasn't moved into the corner to get out of check. Otherwise, the balloon would have burst. So we have to draw him out once more and get the bishop to put him in check.
Now we have to play for time again. Hello, Your Majesty. You can come out. And now White can finally put him in check and scare him off into the corner.
Check. Time to go back into your corner. Yippee! And now here comes the bishop and delivers checkmate. Now what do you say to all of that?
Brilliantly done.
Hey, are you one of those crazy people who really wants to be a Grand Master? If so, I've got a few special positions for advanced players that are not so simple, I warn you. You're going to have all your wits about you if you want to mate your opponent's king in the end. Right then, off you go. Force the king to the edge, then into the corner, and finally checkmate him. Any questions?
There's the flea. Quick, Fritz, catch it.
Too late.
This is my favorite stall at the fair.
What do we have to do?
Shoot your hearts out.
Brilliant. Can you win Chubbies?
I think there'll be one. Hey, you two, it's really wild in here. The revolver fires a bullet. You have to hit as many balloons with it as possible. The Mexican sheriff will help you to keep the bullet on the board. You can move him backwards and forwards using your mouse. Got any questions? Click on the question mark. When you're ready, click on the revolver, and off you go.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Bah. 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 Bah.
Caramba! Caramba!
Bah.
Hee-hee-hee-hee!
Bah. Bah. Bah.
Hey, cool! We've got a chess chubby.
Chubby Wubby on the wall, see the happiest king of all.
I really had fun there.
Me too. What on earth is that?
The twister. It's really wild, I can tell you. At least as long as electricity's working.
Main thing is, we can win a chubby.
Wow, look at all this flashing and blinking round here. Can't anyone turn it all off for a minute? I can't concentrate.
Sure can. First of all, we have to interrupt the current. And to do that, we have to have a look at the fuse box. Ah, now I see. So we have to, and then this here, and then we're done. Got it.
I haven't. Can you explain it again for those of us who haven't won the Nobel Prize?
Okay, things are highly charged round here. King Purple is standing at the back, and the Queen is already planning to attack the King. If he's not careful, she's gonna zap him.
I see. The Queen could sweep aside the pawn on the next move and deliver checkmate to King Purple. He wouldn't be able to capture the Queen because the Rook is protecting her.
Nope, that wouldn't work. You've forgotten about the Purple Queen.
Exactly. Because the mate square is so important, the Purple Queen is protecting it, of course. She is providing the pawn with the energy it needs to protect its king.
Aha! So we have to interrupt the current by breaking the circuit. And how do we do that?
By putting something in the way, like this knight. And lo and behold, we've cut the wires.
Phew, that's better. These flashing lights were really getting on my nerves. And by the way, check.
The Queen could now capture the knight to get the mate square in her sights.
But then she would be captured by this white pawn, and presumably Purple doesn't want that to happen. I think he'd rather capture the white knight using his pawn.
But the pawn is now standing slap bang in the Queen's way, so she can't send her protective energy to the endangered spot.
Or, to put it another way, the White Queen can now finally checkmate poor old King Purple at her leisure.
Cool! We've done it!
Sugar. They must have an emergency generator. Oh, that looks complicated.
And what does the expert have to say?
He says not half as bad as it seems. Just stay calm and have a good look. Notice anything?
Yes. White is about to give Purple a rather nasty shock. The Queen and Rook are standing behind each other. The White Queen could sweep forwards and mate King Purple here because the Rook is protecting her.
But
there's this rather annoying Purple Queen who happens to be protecting the exact same square that White wants to go to.
So we have to come up with a nasty interruption so the Queen blows a fuse and the circuit is broken.
that's right. And how do you suggest doing that?
What about using the bishop? He could interrupt the current between the Queen and the mate square.
How annoying. And he also puts the king in check. So the bishop needs to be taken care of. But how? Can the Queen simply capture him? Probably not, because the Rook is watching over the bishop. So what is she going to do?
She sends her pawn in ahead so that it captures the pesky bishop.
The pesky bishop might now be gone, but the Queen's current is still interrupted. She can't protect her king anymore, and White can now go and do what he's been planning all along. The Queen sweeps in and mates the Purple King.
There we are, all thanks to the Queen. This electric circuit thingy doesn't make life easy.
You just have to arrange a few more interruptions. Which move will get the flashing lights to stop? If you need any help, move the mouse over the light bulb on the right.
Phew, this electric thingy certainly keeps you on your toes.
But just for a change, the electrician will get a chubby in payment today.
My dears, you really have made King Dark and Daring exceedingly happy.
Look, there's a big wheel. Can we have a ride on it later?
Why not?
Cool! Tin can toppling.
Sort of. But as you might imagine, things are a bit different here in Pleasantville to anywhere else. The Pleasantville Tin Can Alley works like this. You have to knock down one single can. And you have to knock it down in a professional manner, not just any old way.
Easy peasy. We'll just take the white rook and lob it over there.
That is a possibility. But it isn't what I'd call a professional move because the knight now moves in and captures the rook. As a result, white still has a bishop and is king, and purple a knight. Like this, no one is going to win, and the game will end in a draw. And yet white could actually quite easily have won.
How? Can we see that again, please?
Sure.
I've got an idea.
But white will lose his bishop.
That's right. But now he can take his time and knock over the rook can without losing his own rook. And a rook is more valuable than a knight.
True. A rook is worth 5 pawns and a knight is only worth 3. It's in my organizer.
So white now has a rook and a king, whereas purple doesn't have anything else. And you can easily checkmate your opponent's king using a rook. I showed you how to do that when we first met in my Intelligim.
Oh, yes. You slowly force the purple king into a corner and protect your rook with your king.
Exactly.
Well, that was an expert throw. Let's throw another one.
What shall we do this time?
You'll have to work that one out for yourselves.
Let's think. Both rooks are pretty well placed here. This one could easily capture the pawn up there. And King Purple wouldn't be able to move anymore. If
it weren't for this pesky knight, which is protecting the pawn can. If we want to knock it over in a professional way, we'd better get rid of the knight first, so that we can then capture the pawn without a problem and then deliver checkmate.
And we do that like this. Check.
Is that really necessary? With the queen of all people? Oh well, I suppose it does make sense and it'll be worth it in the end, even if she's now going to be captured.
Now that the knight has gone, we can finally knock over the pawn can.
Checkmate. Now that was professionally done.
True. Well done, both of you. The rook has put the king in check, and at the same time, he stopped him from getting away there. And his colleague is watching his back. Now try one without any help. Knock over a more valuable piece or deliver checkmate in a professional way. The crooked crown shows you that you can deliver mate. The dust cloud indicates that you can capture a more valuable piece. On the right, you can see how many throws you're allowed.
And which piece is now the can?
Think it over. If you can't make head or tail of it, move your mouse over tip.
Mate, and game over. Well done.
That was professionally done. I think that you've earned a super soft chess, Chubby.
Just the right one for King Banana. He's such a softy.
Hi, King Black. We've won a couple of chess chubbies already.
I don't know why you're bothering children. There's really no point.
We'll see about that.
Yes, of course. Anything you say. In the end, you'll come running to me anyway.
Why?
Because you're doing something wrong, my dearies. Something quite decisive. And the moment of truth will come, and I'll get my own back for the cake-throwing fiasco.
Idiot.
Look! There! There it is!
What? Where?
Duh! My flea, silly! Oh, drat! It's escaped again!
Now that is something I don't want to miss.
Do you think there are any chess chubbies there?
I think so.
Great! I love going on the big wheel.
But this isn't just a big wheel. At the same time, it's also a wheel of fortune. Whenever you're on top, something unexpected and strange is going to happen. Sometimes the pawns might move forward a step. Sometimes something just disappears. Kings might change places and so on. But you never know what's going to happen in advance. That's what makes it fun. Why not try it out?
To get started, you have to click on the bell, don't you?
Yep.
Who do you want to play against? Against the big wheel team? Or against someone sitting next to you? Attention all visitors. We're closing the H file. Please make your way to the exit. Attention all visitors. Please leave the A file. Urgent announcement. Everyone please leave the center. The kings are kindly requested to change places. Enjoy your game. Congratulations! White may make another move.
Shame.
Well, we can't always win.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Pleasantville Big Wheel Corporation, I am proud to present you with this chess chubby.
No luck losing, good at chess. Lots of chubbies for the best.
How cute! A little birdie. What do they give as prizes here? Surprise eggs?
I don't know about that, but you can get points.
How cute!
Yes, isn't it? You get points with this machine. To do so, you have to help the bird bring the eggs to the nests. When an egg appears, the bird quickly has to go to the nest, then make a space for the egg, and finally guide it to the nest. But careful that the bird doesn't bump into an egg.
And how do we tell the bird where it has to go?
Using the arrow keys. Click on the bell to get started.
I could play for hours on end.
And once again, another super cute chess chubby. Thank you, my dears.
This is where all the action is. Have you ever ridden on a bumper car?
Sure, you have to try not to get hit by the other cars if you can.
Oh no, that's so boring. What you really have to do is get right in everyone else's way so that they have to crash into you. Come on, come on, come on, and smash bang! Actually, it's the same as with the bird and the eggs back there.
Off you go then. If you manage it, I'll give you a chess chubby.
Cool.
Diversion and attraction. That's what it's all about here. Let's see how good you are.
Of course, most of all, I'd like to crash into the enemy king, but that's not possible.
At least not quite yet. But we can at least box him in, so that he can't move anywhere and gets mated.
Oh, yes, let's do that.
Unfortunately, he's got a really muscly bodyguard. Otherwise, it would be easy.
Come on, let's give Super Muscles here a good shove and try to get him out of the way.
Mind if I make a suggestion, Bianca? Just get the rook to go over there. Then there'll be a huge pileup and you'll be better off for it.
I'm supposed to be the bait? Well, why not? We're here to have some fun, after all. Check! Na 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 na. Come on over here. Ouch! What now?
The rook really enjoyed that. But you've lured him into a very stupid position right in front of his king. The king is completely enclosed. Ah, well, he who laughs last laughs longest, as they say. And that's why it's your turn to have some fun now, because you're going to deliver mate to King Purple on your next move.
How are we going to do that?
You'll have to find that out for yourselves. How can King Purple be mated in just one brilliant move? Have a go.
Checkmate! Our diversion worked. Thanks for falling for that one, Purple Rook, and wedging in your king.
Funny, isn't it, how a piece can be so dangerous on one square, and on the next move, it's the beginning of the end.
And our knight was the end of the end.
How about another ride?
Silly question. You bet.
Apart from his weak pawns, Purple doesn't really have much left on the board. So he'd probably be upset most if we got rid of his wonderful queen.
Go on then. But how? We can't do it with the rook, because our bishop is in the way. We'd have to move it to the side first. What about moving him so that he can put King Purple in check?
Well, that would be a good idea, but unfortunately, King Purple is on a light square, and your bishop can only move on dark squares.
So we'll just lure him onto a dark square. Getting Purple to move there is a piece of cake for us, and I already know which piece we can use as bait. This one might look really tasty, but in actual fact, it's deadly poisonous. By the way, check.
That's right, just stuff your face. But unfortunately, you're now standing on a dark square, and now it's finally over to our bishop. Hello, check, gotcha.
King Purple probably thinks that the bishop would make a mouth-watering dessert after this fat rook. And he also has to do something because he's not allowed to stay in check. And that's why he now rams your bishop head on.
And now I bet he's thinking, great, I've just bagged a rook and a bishop. But we've seen all this coming, of course.
Because we only had eyes for the queen right from the start. And now we race in at top speed, and there's nothing in the way. Boom! The queen is a write-off, and our remaining rook can tie up the loose ends.
The idea here is to use bait to lure your opponent into a trap, and in so doing, force him to move to a particular place. You are allowed to use the number of moves shown. The crooked crown tells you that you have to checkmate. The dust cloud tells you that you can capture a more valuable piece.
Mate, I couldn't have done it better myself.
Gracious me! You're really good at diversion, and you really do deserve your reward.
Must have been because I was driving.
With a chubby in his hand, this king's the happiest in the land.
Well, did you have fun?
Absolutely bumpingly amazing.
What have we got here?
You can play Skittles here, or buy raffle tickets.
And what about him? What does he do?
Never seen him before.
Promise not to tell anyone else, and I'll show you some really good stuff. The latest in clocks and watches, top notch, just in.
No thanks. I've got one alarm clock already, and that's more than I need in the mornings with all that ringing and buzzing.
I bet you haven't seen anything like these before, honey. 'Cause these are double timers.
Double timers?
That's right. You set the time on both sides, and then you started running.
I see. So it's a kind of egg timer for idiots, and when the idiot's gone soft in the head, the alarm goes off.
Even better than that. Hey, you can use them when you play, okay? You can set the time each player's allowed to think. When it's your turn, your clock starts running. When it's your opponent's turn, the other clock starts ticking. It goes back and forth like that until one of the clocks runs out of time. Got it?
I think so, but what happens when the times run out?
That means you spent too much time thinking, and you've lost. By the way, the fish watch is a bit special. It's got a really amazing built-in feature. You get 2 seconds free for every move you make.
That'd be great for my alarm clock. Yawn once and get an extra 15 minutes sleep.
There's no time to sleep around here. Come on, why not try out one of my fine clocks and watches? Each player has 10 minutes. I'll give you a tip. Click on Start the Chess Clock to begin.
Off you go.
See you.
Karate!
Veni, vidi, vici.
What was that?
I don't know. It's Latin.
We need some more space.
Noticed anything yet? You're in check.
Hello there. Check.
Check.
Time for a break.
You can now see him on the sidelines.
Winning is one of my hobbies.
Well, you two, no one can refuse a chess chubby, can they?
Sorry? Yes. I mean, no. We'll take it.
Are you both sure that you should be talking to a dodgy-looking man like that? Well, at least you've made someone very happy.
Aha! Got a few more chess chubbies, have you?
Yes, about half of them to be precise.
But they won't be of any use to you. They'll all be mine in the end. You'll have done all the work, and I'll be having all the fun.
What's that supposed to mean?
If it's supposed to mean I'm going to have to fight another duel with him in the end, he's got another thing coming.
Here, boy. Here, boy. Heel. Hey!
It's not very obedient, is it?
Time for our next chubby.
So, what do we have to do here?
Play Skittles, of course. Right. The aim is to knock over the purple king. That is, to checkmate him. Any idea how you might do that?
Let me see. We've got a nice pawn. We could use that to knock over the purple king.
I don't think you'll have much success. This pawn is too weak to deliver checkmate.
Then we'll promote it to a queen.
A good idea in theory, but something can always go wrong.
Nonsense. The purple king doesn't stand a chance. We'll just put the king in front of our pawn to protect it.
Okay, then try it out.
We're soon in front of the pawn. And now, I see we can't do that. Not to worry. We'll just move our pawn forward. Right. Now it'll soon turn into a beautiful queen. I don't know what your problem is.
Wait and see.
Wham, bam! The pawn will soon have made it. But first of all, let's move the king forwards so that he can protect it. The purple king can now only move to the side. What bad luck! And now the pawn marches on forwards.
And even puts the purple king in check.
See? It's really not that difficult. Right. And now... Oh.
Yes? What now?
Oh, sugar. There seems to be a little problem. It doesn't matter. We'll sort it out somehow.
I don't think so. What options do you have left? Your king could, of course, move away, but then he can't protect the pawn anymore, and the purple king can capture it. And if there are only 2 kings left on the board, it means it's a draw.
Then we'll just go and stand behind it.
If you say so. But what now? What can you do now? Nothing. It's over. King Purple can't move anymore. He'd be in check here, and he's not allowed to stand next to the king, so it's stalemate. A draw. A bit annoying for everyone. But I could have told you that right from the start. You can see this silly situation coming a long time in advance.
Tell us how, then.
Okay, here it is all over again, just the other way around. The stupid thing here is that the pawn is on the edge of the board. Pawns like this, so-called rook pawns, often pose a bit of a problem. Like in this case, if it simply marches off towards King Purple, it threatens this square. The white king's swords are stopping the purple king from the front, and on the other sides, the edge of the board is in the way. You have to see all this before it's too late. And there's a trick that'll help you. The Skittle squares.
1, 2, 3 times 3, that's 9 in total.
And that means each rook pawn has 9 Skittle squares. It's the same on the other side. Remember this. If the opponent's king reaches these squares before your pawn, then the game will end in a draw.
So our rook pawn must reach these squares before the other king does.
Exactly. In this case, the other king unfortunately reached these squares before your pawn. That's a pain, as you'll soon see. Look, white is now squashed into the corner. Usually it's quite good if the king marches in front of his pawn on the way to the other side of the board. But here, in this corner, there's nowhere for him to move to.
He's not allowed next to the purple king because they'd both be standing next to each other.
That's right. All purple now has to do is keep the white pieces in their corner. And white gets stuck. If the purple king now doesn't do anything stupid like move to the side, the white king won't be able to move anywhere. So, stalemate. White can't move anymore.
That's awful.
Depends on whose side you're on. Just imagine that you are purple. White is a pawn up, and if he manages to promote it, things will be looking bad for you. So what do you do?
Of course I try not to lose, and to at least make the game end in a draw.
Exactly. So what's the first thing we need to remember if we are trying to master the high art of getting a weak rook pawn through to the other side? In pawn endgame, the king does best to move on forward without arrest.
Made easy by 9 Skittle squares, and great if you're the first one there.
But if the other king's there first, your pawn is useless, even worse. He won't make queen, you can be sure. At best, you'll end up with a draw.
There's one exception. Look here. Of course, the same is true for the other side. Right. Now answer this question. Can white promote his rook pawn to a queen and win? The green ball means that the pawn will be promoted. The red one means that it'll end in a draw. Remember the Skittle squares.
We did it! And now here comes our reward.
Here's a chubby for good King Green. A happier face you've never seen.
What do you want?
They want to buy some raffle tickets. Hope they take blue ones. They're nicer.
Don't start again.
Take no notice of those two. That's Anastasia and Morphe. They've been wanting to get divorced for ages, but they can't decide who should get the stall. They argue all the time about every little thing, right down to the color of their tickets.
Who cares as long as there is a chess chubby to be won?
Anastasia always claims that the pink tickets are better because she loves knights on their horses, and they're important for the pink tickets. Look, here you can see a knight, and it's attacking these two squares. King Purple thinks, no problem, there's enough space for me. But the rook swoops in, and what happens? There's no space, and checkmate.
And all because of this measly little pawn.
And because the knights cut off the king's escape routes. Suddenly, purple isn't in the pink anymore.
Let's try another ticket. That's the same again.
Not quite. There is something a bit different about it.
The king is nice and safe behind his pawns, but the knight is lying in wait here, and it's protecting these two squares.
We really need to knock a hole in the wall in front of the king so that the rook can checkmate him.
Agreed. Have a try.
Okay, here goes. What about this?
Hey, are you crazy? The king can now just take the queen.
So? It doesn't matter because white can now do what he did before. Mate.
Oh, I see. It's like cracking nuts. The pawn's on the outside and gets cracked by the queen. Then the rook can get to the nut in the middle. That's the king.
We call that sacrificing the queen.
Hey, that's not fair. The poor queen. Let's get another ticket.
All right. Here's another pink raffle ticket.
This one really does look different.
But it isn't really. As soon as the knight takes up his position, I think you'll see what I mean.
Oh, right. That's where he was before. King Purple is now in check and has to move out of it. Obvious, really. There's nothing else he can do.
And now our courageous queen sweeps in once again.
She sacrificed. And in so doing, the way is cleared for the king to meet his doom.
I don't think sacrificing queens should be allowed.
Keep your hair on. It's just a game.
But we still have to finish it.
Mate.
Good job. In terms of the pink tickets, you're already experts.
Look, now we've got one of the blue raffle tickets.
These are the ones Morphe prefers. Goodness knows why.
But it's a bit different to the pink ones.
True. For instance, there's an all-important rook. His influence stretches all the way over to the opponent. There's a big hole in his row of pawns. The king took refuge behind them when he castled at some point.
Well, somebody's made quite a big hole in that castle.
And we can put that to our advantage. Does anyone know how?
I do. The white bishop can now checkmate King Purple at his leisure.
Exactly. The bishop puts the king in check. And this mighty rook blocks his escape route to the side. And the king's own pawn is stopping him from escaping towards the front. That is Morphe's favorite mate.
Oops! Different again. Or is it?
Not really. In actual fact, it's almost exactly the same as before. It's just that the purple king has to be scared off into his own corner.
But this rook is in a different place to last time.
That's the point. And now white moves like this so that the purple king is forced back into the corner. Check. Away with you.
Off you go, back to your hidey hole. And now the white bishop can move in again.
Checkmate. Well done.
You know what you know. I'm beginning to enjoy this. But hang on a sec. I don't think that's really fair. Purple's now a rook up. And 3 pawns. And a knight.
But instead of a knight, white has a great bishop. And anyway, it's not just about who has more pieces, but also about where they are. And white definitely has the advantage here.
In actual fact, it's not really very different to what we just had.
Yes, it is. Look, there's no hole in the row of pawns, for instance. How are we meant to checkmate the king if there isn't a hole, for goodness sake?
By making one, of course.
And how are we meant to do that? Use a drill?
No, I'd be more inclined to use a sledgehammer. Look at this. The hole should go here, shouldn't it? So this is what we'll do. First of all, we have to get rid of the knight.
No! That's mad! And it's unfair as well. The beautiful queen! Don't you realize what will happen next? Precisely. That's the end of everything.
But look, Bianca, the hole's now there.
Great. But the queen's gone.
But look here. Now white can do what he did before. First of all, the rook scares the king off into the corner. And now it's easy for the bishop. Mate. It really was worth sacrificing the queen.
Yippee! White's won!
Whether pink or blue, or neither of them for that matter, who cares as long as it's made in the end?
Okay. By the way, the number of moves you need to deliver mate is shown on the right. Yes, that's made just how I like it. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. What a wonderful mate. I have to say, that was expertly done.
A wonderful checkmate. Well done. That was worthy of my name. That checkmate was fantastic.
What a mate!
Well done. You've won first prize, a chess chubby.
Hey, they'd never have done it without my blue raffle tickets.
A little chubby rook for King Silver. Just look at how happy he is.
Go on. Try to checkmate your opponent's king.
On the right, you'll see the number of moves you need to do so. And then they said that the pink tickets are much nicer than the blue ones.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. I heard them with my very own ears.
Then let's ask them again.
What? No, don't even think about it. Don't you trust me? When you married me, you promised to stand by me in good times and in bad. Don't you remember?
Of course I do. But I never promised to do everything you wanted. I checked that out to be certain.
Trust you to read the small print.
Is there a ghost train at this fair?
Sure is, but not here. There's a shooting gallery, a crazy maze, and a boxing ring to start with here.
Come on in.
Hola, are you coming to me?
Looks like the kind of place you'd expect to find outlaws.
Yeah, we play by outlaws' rules here too. Capturing is our motto.
Oh, does that mean we go to jail if we capture a piece?
On the contrary, the aim is to be captured as often as possible.
You mean on purpose?
That's right.
Come on, this I've got to see.
Our rules are pretty tough. The aim is not actually to win, but to lose. The first player to lose all their pieces is the winner. Or if you can't move anymore, that also counts as winning.
So there's no such thing as check and mate?
Nope. In our game, the king is a completely normal piece that can be captured just like any other piece. Oh, and something else. If you can capture, you have to, whether you want to or not.
So it's all gone crazy. Cool!
So, who's robbing whom today? Which of the outfits is it to be? Take your pick.
Shame, we didn't really want to capture anyone.
Yes, my goodness, just the whack away. Great guns, what a nuisance. Wonderful.
Rats. Oh dear, I didn't want to do that. Did we have to do that?
We did. What a shame.
Blast! Why did that have to happen? Darn, I really don't want to, but I have to.
He didn't really want to play anymore. That pawn can be promoted. Shame, we didn't really want to capture anyone.
Heavens alive! All of our pieces have been captured! We've won!
The capturers are on their way. They've all gone down to the woods today to find a cuddly chess chubby.
Thanks. That's fine.
You've made someone very happy.
White or purple? Purple or white? Come on, place your bets. There's a stack of money for the one who bets right.
We'd rather have a chess chubby.
What a sensation! What a spectacle! What an atmosphere! And here come white and purple ready for the big fight. Purple has a clear advantage. His team is one pawn up. And it is about to make it through to the back rank to become a highly attractive queen. Purple to win. Place your bets now. The higher, the better.
Great. I'm going to put all my pocket money on purple.
Don't do it! It's just a trick to get you to part with your money. There's more to these kind of situations with rooks and pawns than meets the eye. If you ask me, it's gonna end in a draw.
And the fight is about to start. And it's Purple's turn to make the first mega move. And the tension is rising. If he could, King Purple would step in front of his pawn, because that would be the best way to help his teammate get through. But, unfortunately for him, there's an annoying white rook standing right in the way and stopping him. But Purple doesn't lose heart. He marches bravely on. The pawn has nothing to fear from the rook because the king is protecting him. It's an almost certain victory. Any more bets? I'm still taking bets on Purple.
Sure. That's not gonna help Purple here at all.
What? Why not?
Because Purple hasn't thought things through properly. He can't just barge on through regardless. Look, he's left his king rather unprotected and open to attack.
Attack? By whom?
By the white rook. In cases like this, the pawn serves two purposes. First, to become a deadly queen, and secondly, it acts as a shield for the purple king to hide behind. If the pawn advances too far, the purple king can't hide on these squares anymore, because he's not allowed to get too near the white king.
Oops. What kind of move was that?
Is White so desperate that he can't think of any sensible moves anymore? Quickly now, place all your money on Purple, because it'll all be over in a minute.
I don't get it either. Why did the rook move to the back? I thought he was meant to keep an eye on the pawn. I think things are now going to get really hairy for White. Maybe I should put a little bit of money on Purple after all.
Don't do it. The rook's just changing his tactics. From now on, he's not going to fight from the side, but he's going to attack the purple king from behind.
And the king is now advancing towards his pawn. Check! Well, who would have seen that coming? But any second now, the purple pawn is going to become a queen. Want to bet?
I don't think so. That's the catch. King Purple might like to hide behind his pawn, but he can't, because then he'd be standing next to the white king, and he's not allowed to do that.
Hey, Mr. Cheshire Rat, don't be so negative. That's not a problem for King Purple.
Oh, yes it is. The rook is not going to let him out of his sight anymore.
So he'll just move over to the side again. What's the problem? Ah, I see. I'm afraid it could go on like this for ages.
Exactly. And if it goes backwards and forwards for ages, that means the game's a draw. It's a draw. Just as well you didn't place any bets. In any case, you can see how important it is for the king to go in front of the pawn, because that's the only way they can really protect each other.
Oh, well, that wasn't really anything to write home about. I'm afraid everyone who placed bets on purple has lost. But as the saying goes, there's always a next time.
Situations like this with rooks and pawns can be quite tricky. There are 1,000 different rules, and for each one there are 1,000 different exceptions. And I don't want to bore you with them all, but you should remember this one.
Move your king across the board when your pawn is marching forward. The best place for the king to be is when he's out in front, you'll see, until he lands upon the scene where pawn can turn into a queen.
If your partner does the same, check and check and check again. For games that last forevermore will always end up in a draw.
Rank 3 and 6, the rook's best place. Then the king can't hide his face. And if a pawn in front should steer, the rook can take him from the rear.
Does anyone dare to get into the ring? I'll wager he'll lose against my boys.
Accepted. We won't lose. We'll make it a draw.
Off you go. If you manage to make 5 good consecutive moves, then even the most skilled boxer will have to admit that it's a draw.
Unbelievable, but true. It's not going to end in victory after all. You've won the bet.
Yippee! It's a draw.
Great boxers alive! I wouldn't have thought that you could do it. Okay, a draw. You've won the bet. Okay, you've won the bet. But now, clear the ring and make way for new challengers. What a sensation! White against purple. Place your bets now, please. See for yourselves. The White King is standing on the exact same square that his pawn wants to be on, so that it can become a queen. But it'll never happen, because the White King can't move. Here he's under pressure from the rook, and he's not allowed to move here, because he'd be standing next to King Purple. I bet you White won't be able to promote his pawn. Place your bets.
Accepted and won. The pawn gets through.
How?
One thing I could imagine is that the white rook somehow gets involved.
Oh, yes, I see. He could put King Purple in check, for instance. He has to move away, and that opens up a path for the White King. And he can free up the promotion square for the pawn.
Ha 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 ha! Nonsense! Purple still has a rook. He can use it to keep the White King in check until the game is declared a draw.
That's true. Once you've worked that out, click on the chessboard and I'll explain how White can still win. Okay, then let's go back a bit. The rook opens up a path for his king by forcing the purple king to the edge. Now watch this. Before the White King comes out of hiding from behind the pawn, he has to make a protective shield to keep himself safe from the evil rook.
And how do you make a protective shield?
With chess pieces, Bianca. King Purple's not going to help his enemy, that's for sure, which is why White uses his own rook.
But to do that, the rook would somehow have to get near the white king so that he can slip behind him.
That's right. So he moves over to rank 4. He's now close enough to his own king and yet far enough away from King Purple not to run into any trouble. Of course, King Purple doesn't want to go anywhere else either, because the pawn is making a real nuisance of itself. The king might have to intervene again, so Purple now makes a rather meaningless move with his rook.
I get it. Now the white king moves out and tries to make his way over to the rook so he can hide behind it.
That's right, to hide from this rather evil-looking fellow here.
Check! Oh, that's not going to work!
You don't think a king is going to be bothered by a thing like that?
And check again! White might as well resign! There's no point continuing!
Nonsense! The white king simply moves out of check again, and at the same time stays close to his pawn so as to protect it.
And check again! He can do whatever he likes! White doesn't stand the slightest chance! If you place a bet on white, you're bound to lose!
Oh dear, now he's in check again. Chester, are you quite sure that it's all going to be okay in the end?
Yeah, because it's time for the rook's big entrance. It's not only the king who is now protected, but also this pawn. And Purple can do whatever he likes. On the next move, the white pawn will be promoted to a queen.
Wow, using the rook as a protective shield for the king and the pawn. Not bad.
Grr! It's going to completely ruin my business!
And here's the queen. Ta-ta!
Oh well, all those who place bets against white have lost. But, as the saying goes, there's always a next time! And here we go! Here is the next chance! The chance of a lifetime! Does anyone dare get into the ring? I bet you don't manage to get your pawn through and promote it!
Come on, Fritz. We can do it.
Okay, challenge accepted. Our pawn will get through or we'll mate you.
Well, look at that. We did it.
White has a rook and his king, whereas Purple doesn't have anything left. And you can mate your opponent's king with a rook. Go on, try it.
Game over and out. We've won. We won the bet.
Okay. Here's your chess, Chubby.
We really worked hard for it this time.
A chubby is the perfect thing for this red and rosy king. Look how happy he is.
And how does the saying go? There's always a next time! What a sensation! Fantastic fights and mega matches! Clear the ring for white against purple! Who's betting on purple?
Purple is a pawn up.
And the rook is protecting him like a true hero! That is true friendship! That is what sport is all about! And purple is guaranteed to win! Place your bets on purple!
I wouldn't waste a cent on that. Look, the rook is standing on the exact same square that the pawn has to go on to promote. And he can't actually move, because otherwise the white rook would immediately gobble up the pawn.
Nonsense! Purple's in a far better position. Any bets on purple? None?
I'd bet on a draw at most, and that's only as long as white doesn't do anything stupid.
How could it possibly end in a draw? Purple's in a magnificent position. What could the White King do to harm him? OK, I'll even go so far as to show you how hopeless the situation is. If he goes there... Bam! He's in check and has to make a quick getaway. The rook will catch the pawn? Course not. He'll be a queen as quick as a shot.
But she can now be captured by the rook.
So what? Purple has already thought of that. It's a cinch to fight against a lonely king with a rook. And you really thought that this could lead to a draw? Purple will win.
Stop, not so fast. I said it'd end in a draw as long as white didn't do anything too stupid. But there were a lot of stupid things going on here. Can we see it from the beginning again, please?
All right, we'll start over. Clear the ring for white and purple. Place your bets for purple's victory over white. Still no bets on purple? OK, the White King isn't as stupid this time and doesn't leave this rank. The rook now can't go here because the king could capture him. But that doesn't change the fact that purple is still going to win.
But now the white rook can capture the purple pawn.
Let him do it! Check. The White King has to move to the side. And once again, the rook is a goner. As I said, it's easy to win if you have a rook and a king against a king standing alone. Purple's going to win this time, too.
He will if white keeps on making such stupid moves. You know very well that there is only one perfect move for white here, so that he doesn't lose, and then it'll be a draw. But white simply hasn't made this move so far.
I don't know what you're talking about. A draw? I don't know what you mean. Place your bets on purple. There are incredible sums to be won.
There are two mistakes the White King must not make here, as we've seen. Leave this rank and underestimate this corner. That's why he simply does this. Finished.
So, what's that got to do with it being a draw? Just look at purple's superior position. He's a pawn up, and it's soon going to be promoted. Quickly now, place your bets on the purple team.
And how's that going to help purple? It'll do no good at all.
But look here. The Purple King rushes in to help his teammates.
Let's wait and see. Now it starts raining checks.
And check.
And now the Purple King has arrived. But what good will it do him? It's raining checks and King Purple doesn't have anywhere to go for shelter. The rook keeps putting him in check, so that he hasn't got any chance to stick out his elbows.
Check, 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 and check again.
And even the most patient of referees will call it a day at some point and declare the game a draw, at the latest after 50 unsuccessful moves. In other words, a never-ending game of chess will be a draw, I do confess.
Okay, you were right about the draw. But how does the saying go? There's always a next time. So clear the ring and let's have another fight!
This is the Spanish opening maze. There are quite a lot of crazy mazes like this. The Italian and English openings, the French, and Petrov defense, to name but a few. But they all have one thing in common. It's really difficult to find your way around them.
You have to be careful in here, see? The Spanish opening maze is really crazy. If you find your way out, I'll give you a whatchamacallit.
Do you mean chess, Chubby?
See.
Opening. Wasn't that the beginning of a duel? Or a chess game, or whatever you call it?
Exactly. In the opening, you try to get yourself into the best possible position, and there are a few good tips about how to do this.
And I know them. Like you should try not to move the pawns too much at the beginning. It's better to bring your bishops and knights into play. It's all in my organizer, just in case anyone's interested in reading up on it. And what do we have to do here to begin with?
It's easy to remember the Spanish opening, which is also sometimes called the Ruy Lopez, because it's always the same. The pawn looks after the so-called center. This is usually where the action is later on in the game, so it's good to keep it in your sights right from the beginning. Of course, the same applies to purple. After all, he wants to win too. Right, now a knight can be sent into the fray. They're really important at the beginning.
That's handy. It's now threatening the purple pawn.
Which is why purple now quickly rushes to its defense. In the Spanish opening, he does so by moving one of his knights too. So he's protecting his pawn, and at the same time he's really entering the game. Well, that's pretty much all it is. The only thing missing is the move that makes the Spanish opening really Spanish, and that's this one.
Aha! The bishop moves in and attacks the knight, who has to protect the pawn.
But what is even more important is that the bishop has the purple king in his sights, using so-called X-ray vision. That can make things uncomfortable when the game continues.
Okay, so this is the basic position for the Spanish opening.
It sure is. The basic position is always the same, but from then on, there are any number of possibilities. Now, try and get yourself into the Spanish opening position on your own.
What if we can't do it?
Don't worry, I'll help you. First of all, the pawn in front of the king moves forward 2 steps. Do that now. Purple moves his king's pawn forward 2 squares too. Good. And now the knight on the right is brought into play. Purple copies him, mirrors it, so to speak. The bishop now gets his opponent's king into his sights and also threatens the knight. How does he do that? Exactly. That's the basic position.
Easy peasy. Now what?
Now you get into the real maze, my dear Bianca. As I said, this basic position is always the same in the Spanish opening. From here on, lots of different moves are possible. But they're not all as good as each other, and that's why I'd like to show you 2 particularly good ones.
I suppose they're to do with this guy here, aren't they? After all, he is a kind of threat, and purple should really do something about him.
That's right. The bishop is in the way, of course, and purple would ideally like to be rid of him right away. So he now attacks him.
Now the poor bishop has to get out of the way, otherwise he'll be captured on the next move.
Yes, one option would be to move away. It'd be best to go here because he's still got his eye on the purple king.
But can't purple now just drive him away even further, like this?
Sure. The white bishop has lost his hold on the purple king, but now purple has a little problem because he has big holes in his row of pawns. But I don't want to go any further into this maze with you right now.
A minute ago you said there was a second possibility.
That's right, and now I'm going to show it to you. Okay, Now back to the basic position for the Spanish opening. The pawn is threatening the white bishop again, but now, instead of moving it away, he captures the knight. Of course, one of the disadvantages is that he can now be captured himself. But as the knight and bishop are worth about the same, it doesn't really matter.
But why did this particular pawn capture the bishop? Wouldn't this one have been a better choice? I thought there was a rule that says it's always better for pawns to capture towards the center.
Usually, that's absolutely right, because that strengthens the center. But there's an exception to every rule, especially if there's a good reason for it.
And what would the reason be?
The pawn is opening the way for the purple bishop, so that now he can really start throwing his weight around.
I see. And then there's also nothing in the queen's way.
Quite right. Now there are lots of possibilities. For instance, you could just quietly continue to develop your pieces like this. And from here on, there are all kinds of ways the game could continue, but you can take a closer look at those in the maze.
Okay, and what are we supposed to do now?
You now have to find your own way through the maze. Some of the paths are highly recommended, but others are completely useless.
Ah, and we can recognize them by the plus or minus sign next to them?
Exactly. So take your time and work out what your next move will be. Once you've decided, click on the move which you like best, remember it, and then think about what to do next.
And when do we make it to the exit?
That's up to you. Once you've found a path that you like, and which you can remember easily, then put this jewel down by clicking on it.
I see. And then we go back along the path to pick it up again.
After all, a jewel like that is too valuable just to be left lying around.
Absolutely, but the second time around, you have to find your way by moving normally. The longer your path, the higher your score. But let me give you a tip. Take shorter paths first and gradually make them longer and longer.
Okay, the jewel is in position.
Muy bien. Now you can click on the bloodhound and go back along the path to find the jewel again. For every correct move you make, you get points. And they'll never go away. Your whole life long.
Cool. But supposing we've had enough of the maze and just want to play chess.
No problem. Just click on Chester if you want to play the game to the end.
And against me in person, no less.
Remember what to do? Follow the same path as just now until you find your jewel again.
But this time we have to move the pieces.
And we're going to bag loads of points.
But only if you can do it without any help.
Muy bien. Super. You found the right path.
What next? How do we continue?
It's up to you. You could either put down another jewel and find the same way again and collect lots of points, or you could continue the game from here.
Can we just keep on clicking and then put the jewel down somewhere else?
And get lots more points? See, no problem.
And what if we get really bored when we're on the same old path and want to try out something completely new?
Then click on the ding-dong bell again and find another path through the crazy Spanish opening maze.
Okay, and now we move the pieces normally until we found the jewel.
Caramba! Muy bien! You found your way back here all on your own. You do realize that you can stop when you want to. Just click on the jewel on the side and you can stop and do it all over again.
Yippee! I've found my jewel again, and I did it without any help at all.
Muy bien, muy bien. Now it's time for you to get your chubby thing.
You mean chess, Chubby.
Si. Hasta la vista.
Marvelous! King Prancelot and his new chubby horse. Do you know this rhyme? The knight gallops on, like a horse in a race. To the right, to the left, at a very fast pace.
Bet you can't believe your eyes now, can you, King Black? We'll soon have all the chess chubbies.
Might as well give them to me straight away. They'll all be mine in the end anyway.
What? No, you won't be getting these ones as well.
These ones are for the poor old kings.
How very kind of you. Well, you just carry on collecting. But as I said, you're making a mistake.
Huh? What kind of mistake? He won't say it, the stupid idiot.
Stop! Hey, you Flea! Come back here!
Maybe we should put down a saucer of blood for it.
Eek! Here's your ghost train, Bianca.
Cool! And who's that old woman over there?
She's a loner. She's the fortune teller.
Ooh, ghost train!
If he thinks we're scared, then he's got another thing coming, hasn't he, Fritz?
No. Oh, yes. What wouldn't we do to get a chubby?
Yippee!
Help!
No! So you dared to come inside. That was a big mistake, because you won't get past. Otherwise, you'll have to deal with the lost souls. Ooh, and here they are.
Help! Ghosts!
Don't make such a fuss, you wimp.
They're going to do a little ghost dance for you now.
Whoops! Where did they just go?
That's what ghosts are like, you know. They can quickly vanish into thin air. So keep a close check on where they go. Otherwise, you'll be lost.
And when does it start?
Click on the bone, and the lost souls will drift over the board. If you want to see them move again, click on again. You have to watch everything very carefully, because at the end, you will have to solve an unsolvable task.
And what would that be?
To deliver checkmate on the next move.
And what happens if we make the wrong move?
If that happens, the ghosts will take pity on you and show you one last time. But then, of course, you get less points. And if you make another mistake, they will even show you their true faces. But then all you'll get is one little tiny consolation point for your last move.
Oh, well, the main thing is to get some points, one way or the other.
Then click on the bone if you dare. And now, the great unsolvable riddle. Make the next move to deliver checkmate to your opponent.
Whose turn is it anyway?
Look at the side and you'll see.
checkmate? How did you manage that?
Male intuition.
And female.
Ah!
Yippee!
Mommy!
No!
Help!
Wow!
Stop!
Oh no, not him again.
Oh, yes. Click through the game and find the final move. Which move will deliver checkmate?
Hey! That task was unsolvable!
Not anymore.
Whee!
No!
Ah!
Yippee!
Mommy!
I'm back again. And now, show me the move which will deliver checkmate.
Mate? How on earth? That was right!
Stop! You won't get past me. Checkmate on the next move. Show me how to do it. You really managed to do it, mate!
What did you expect?
Ah! Help! Ah!
Here is another task. One last move and the ballot's over. Which one is it?
I'll give you a chess chubby if I really have to.
Of course you do.
Goodness me, I wouldn't have dared to go near that skinny ribs. He's not my cup of tea. He's too thin. But you've certainly made King Silvylogs really happy.
No! Mommy!
Yippee!
Ah!
Cool! Yippee!
Ah!
It's the end of the line. Stop! Stop! Come back! You weren't supposed to be able to get out.
Am I happy to be back outside?
I thought it was great. Do you still need this chess, Chubby? Because if you don't, we know someone who really does.
You can have it, I suppose. But first, you have to do a puzzle.
By the look of these balloons, it's bound to have something to do with bishops and knights.
Exactly.
If you ask me, this is all about checkmating the Purple King, using your knight and bishop. It's a bit tricky, but once you got the hang of it, you'll be king.
Being king suits me and Fritz. So tell us how to do it.
You can see two things here, which will come in handy later. First, the white bishop only moves on the dark squares, not on the light ones. That means that white can only checkmate King Purple on a dark square. And what's more, only in the corner. The other thing is this group of 3 pieces.
Hey, that's like a sandwich. On top, there's half a king bun, at the bottom half a king bun, and a knight in the middle. A McKnight sandwich, so to say. Except you can't eat it.
You can call this what you like. But one thing's for sure, we'll be seeing quite a lot of this McKnight sandwich. Together, the king and knight form a semicircular wall with only 2 weak spots, these two. They both now want to force King Purple into this dark corner, where the bishop can deliver mate from behind. In order to do this, they each have a special job. For example, the knight is busy jumping around in a zigzag.
Zigzag, or W for world champion.
Exactly. The white king has the fun task of keeping King Purple at the edge. And in the meantime, the bishop makes sure that he doesn't sneak off into the white corner.
Okay, that's the first step towards the dark corner.
And now the knight starts off on his world champion zigzag course.
Oh dear, King Purple can move back. To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed.
Well, the best preparation for a good move is to make a good move. We now continue like this. Check. Purple has to do something.
He still can't move to the left, so he moves to the right again. Yippee!
Now we have to keep an eye on the white knight. Otherwise, he'll be a goner on the next move. That's why we now combine business and pleasure and move the white king a step.
Very good. Now he's protecting the knight, and at the same time, he's making sure King Purple stays at the edge. Now it's his turn again. He can't move there because he'd be in check from the knight. So whether he likes it or not, he has to march off to the right, towards the corner.
Exactly. And so that he doesn't sneak off on the next move, the white king follows him. Notice anything?
Sure. There's our McKnight sandwich again. It's just 2 squares further to the side. Now the purple king has been hemmed in again by the knight and the king.
The king still tries to get away. But don't worry, white has a trusty bishop in reserve. And he says, check.
Wow! And so King Purple doesn't have any choice but to go back into the McKnight sandwich.
Look, there it is again. Now the knight can continue his world championship zigzagging.
Right. He now makes an in-between move so that he can jump here later. From there, he'll watch over this square. and can force the king further into the corner.
Well, he doesn't have any choice. So the knight now moves here. No, wait a sec. The king could capture him there. Hey, Chester, what's going on? Why is this different to before?
It was White's turn before. Now it's King Purple's. That's what's different. But that doesn't matter, because we can easily turn the tables. Do you know how?
I know. We'll play for time. It'll force King Purple to make a move.
That's it. And it's best if the bishop does this, because he can move without destroying our nice prison. And now it's Purple's turn again.
Yes! Now it's the same as before. The knight can continue zigzagging along his W and put the purple king in check.
King Purple has to move aside, and King White follows him to make sure he leaves the knight in peace and stays at the edge.
Poor King Purple. Are you ill? Is that why you can't move to the left anymore? Okay, to the right. With White hard on his heels.
Lunchtime. Look, there it is again, our Mac Knight sandwich.
And there's the hole in the wall again.
But King Purple can't get very far. And check. And the escape route is shut off.
Tough one for King Purple, because he's about to be mated in the corner by the bishop. But the knight has to move out of the way first, otherwise that won't work. So back again along the W zigzag. The purple king can't get away now. So far, so good.
Oops! Why didn't the balloon burst?
Because purple didn't move into the corner to get out of check. So White must put him in check here first. That's the knight's job, and it's best if he does it from this square. But now it's White's turn, and the purple king is not on this square anymore. What shall we do?
I know. We could make a move again to play for time. A move that won't change the overall position, except that it's then Purple's turn. It's just like jumping on the spot.
Purple now has to come out of the corner again. And now here comes the knight. Check!
Cool! The balloon has burst. Now King Purple is well and truly cut off, and he can't move anymore.
And now, all we have to do is deliver checkmate using the bishop. Right then, how do we do that? Try it.
We've done it. I'm not really sure whether I got all of that, though.
To be honest, I'd be surprised if you had. You can't learn something like that in a couple of minutes. You really have to practice it a few times. It looks the same as before. Here is the Mac Knight sandwich. And here comes the bishop. King Purple is forced to step to the side. And the knight starts off on his zigzag course.
Oh no! He's about to get away!
It's understandable. Who wants to be mated of their own free will? But we saw that coming, didn't we?
Did we?
Of course we did. And that's why catching the king again won't be any problem. The white king, hard-working as always, follows him, of course.
Oh no! Look at that! He's got away from the edge.
The knight just quietly continues zigzagging along, protected by his king. If we take a close look, King Purple is pretty closed in again, even though he's made a wild escape. He can't go here because of the white king, and the knight is watching over these squares. King Purple will remain captive behind these walls as long as this escape route can be kept closed off.
That's always the bishop's business, isn't it? King Purple is looking pretty small now. His only real option is to move back again.
The bishop now forces him to the edge.
And now, whether he likes it or not, King Purple has to back off. And White now completes the McKnight sandwich again. Tasty!
Of course, King Purple keeps on trying. This time, he tries to flee to the left. The king and the knight have got him well between their walls. The bishop now quickly turns his attention back to his real job and closes off the escape route. King Purple should now finally move over to the right into the corner. Off you go, Mr. Bishop. Quick, close the escape route.
The Purple King doesn't have any choice.
Now the knight starts his zigzag dance again. King White has to follow because it's his job to make sure that King Purple stays on the edge of the board.
Next step in the knight's dance. And once again, the knight cuts off the path to the left, and the white king moves in after him. Time for a sandwich!
King Purple tries it once again, but at the same time, the bishop blocks all the holes. Check.
Isn't this where the knight has to go back a step on his world champion zigzag tour so that he can reach this square and then force the king into the corner to escape from check over here? But hang on, where's our balloon?
Here it is. Remember? It doesn't burst if the king moves here without being in check. That's why the bishop has to play for time.
Purple has to come out of the corner. Now the knight can move to the square he's meant to get on. Check.
Off you go into the corner. And finally, after a lot of toing and froing, the bishop can mate King Purple.
That was hard work, but it was worth it.
So let me recap once again. You drive the king out to the side, there's nowhere there for him to hide.
Your king will force him on some more. The corner's where he's headed for. The bishop mates the king right there, both on the self-same color square.
And don't forget your trusty knight. His zigzags help to win the fight. And last not least, to save the day, there's Mac Knight Sandwich on the way.
The number on the red spot shows you how many moves you can still make before the game ends in a draw. Now, let's see whether you manage to mate King Purple.
Piece of cake. Game over. Checkmate.
And that was the last move, mate. Check and mate. Surprised you, didn't I?
Winning is one of my hobbies.
Game over and out. We've won.
Game over. Checkmate.
And that was the last move, mate.
Wow, you really are winners.
The cutest chubby for King Blue. Make wife and daughter happy too.
I've got a few more tricks for advanced players. Just the thing for experts like you, that is, if you're interested.
Well, we'll certainly have a look.
It's really tricky if your opponent's king isn't standing on the edge. There's a danger of it ending in a draw because of the 50-move rule.
What was that again?
You can read about it in my organizer. The game is a draw if no pawns have been moved and no piece is captured for 50 moves.
And as there are no pawns in the game anymore, you have to deliver mate in 50 moves. That can be really hairy at times, because the shortest route might easily take, let's say, 37 moves.
Oops.
But luckily, there are a few basic rules that I'd like to summarize for you. If you want to, you can spend some time thinking them over. Here we go. 1. King and bishop force the king towards the edge of the board. 2. Occasionally, you might need the help of a knight too, but be careful. It hardly ever makes a move. 3. The knight generally stands on the same colored square as the bishop. That way, it can keep a better eye on the other colored squares. 4. You lose most time by making the wrong moves with your knight. 2 mistakes can cost you 10 to 15 moves, and then it might easily be a draw because of the 50-move rule. So be extremely careful when you move your knight.
This is really something that only the real experts can manage, when the king is not on the edge but somewhere in the middle. Even I need a little bit of help. Luckily, I have this cell phone with a help program on it. You can use it too if you like.
Let's have a look at it.
Okay. The cell phone shows you in how many moves you can mate your opponent's king. Well, at least theoretically. It doesn't matter if you need a few extra moves. The problem is that it'll automatically be considered a draw after 50 moves. So you have to deliver mate in less moves than that. The number of moves you still have is shown on the red spot. So this number always has to be bigger than the number on the cell phone. Otherwise, an alarm goes off. Now then, have fun.
Welcome to the future, my dears. Do you dare cast a glance? The stars are fortuitous.
Sure, that's why we're here.
It's difficult for a normal person to see into the future, but it's not impossible. It certainly isn't. Especially if Saturn is moving in on Venus and the full moon is nigh, as it is now.
Is that so? Well, let's get on with it then. So what has the future got in store for me?
Oh, only you can see into your own future, because only you know your plans and can see the things using your inner eye.
And how am I supposed to do that?
Gaze into my crystal ball. What does your inner eye see? What sense can you make of it all? Click on the square when you think you've worked it out.
Well, all I can see right now are a few pieces standing around the place. I reckon both kings are in a pretty bad way. This one isn't really in any danger, but I imagine this knight is probably getting on his nerves. Shame the pawn can't capture him, but then the king would be in check, and that's not allowed. And things aren't looking too hot on the other side either. The queen is getting right up King White's back.
Ah, that is Jupiter's influence. But what now? What do you see now?
Yeah, well, something's changed, hasn't it?
Aha! Something has changed. Already we find ourselves on the first rung of the ladder towards enlightenment. But what has changed here?
Well, the bishops moved from here to here. Uh-oh, things aren't looking good for White. Bianca, look at the queen.
What? Oh, my goodness! Miss Hoity-Toity can capture the poor knight on her next move. Help! He's got to get out of there right now! Scram!
Don't panic, dearie. Those who seek insight into the future should avoid jumping to conclusions. Instead, take your time, like the planets on their eternal journey around the sun, and in so doing, reach the second rung on the ladder of enlightenment.
And where does that get us?
The question of where. Where is danger at hand?
Well, the queen can capture the knight.
But Mercury tells me that that is not all that is to be seen.
Oops, nope, you're right. She can also mate White, because from there she's protected by her bishop and can't be captured.
By Jupiter, I see that you are gifted with the sight.
But what's White supposed to do then?
What's White supposed to do? Now that leads us to the third rung on the ladder of enlightenment. And the question here is, what is my aim?
Stupid question. Win, of course.
Can you be a little bit more, precise? Maybe Pluto, from his distant path, can throw some light on the matter. What plan might White have been following up to now? What was he thinking when he made his last move? A glimpse back into the past has often shed light on the future.
Maybe the queen should be smuggled over here where she could threaten to mate King Purple.
I get it. Then Purple is only defending himself by attacking with his queen. In reality, he's got a problem.
True, but the White King's in trouble too. Mate on the next move, and he can't do anything about it.
But in desperation, there is also hope, as we know well from Sagittarius. So maybe our answer is hidden somewhere. Somewhere you'd never think of looking. And in order to find this out, we have to step on to the fourth rung on the ladder of enlightenment.
And that would be?
It says, which moves can I plan? In other words, first you have to think of all the possible moves. Which is the first one that springs to mind?
This one, of course. That was the original plan before Purple made his threatening move with his bishop. From here, White is threatening checkmate.
This would work in a way, too. It would stop Purple from using his queen to deliver checkmate.
This one would also work and would put the Purple King in check. But that would be silly because the queen would then probably be captured soon after.
Whether good or bad, only the future can tell. So, on the fourth rung of the ladder of enlightenment, we have found 3 possible moves. On the next rung, we have to think them all through very carefully. This was the first possibility. What does it say in the stars? What do you have to think through?
I'm thinking. Fritz, what exactly are we supposed to be thinking about?
Well, I'm thinking that wouldn't be a very clever move. The queen could deliver mate on the next move, but that would not be of much use because before that happened, the purple queen would have checkmated white, either here or here. So we can forget this move.
So let us consider the second move.
I'm thinking so hard my brain's about to burst.
I don't think that really makes a lot of difference. If the purple queen went here on the next move, white would still be checkmated.
So that wouldn't really be too hot a move either.
All right. Now, move number 3.
No, that wouldn't be any good either.
Are you sure? We haven't given it that much thought yet.
There's nothing to think about. A king capturing a queen? It's just not a very gentlemanly thing to do.
But look here. The king wouldn't be able to capture her because then he'd move into check. The knight is protecting that square. So the rook would have to capture the queen.
Still not a very gentlemanly thing to do.
Yes, but then white could checkmate King Purple, using his knight.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, this is quite clearly the best move. Get on with it then.
Stop! A wise person never rushes into anything. It wouldn't be the first time that a hasty move had led to a person's downfall.
But by racking our brains, we've come up with a brilliant move. It's weird when you think about it, because this is the move we only suggested as a joke.
And no one can take it away from you, not even scheming Mars. So, the best thing to do now is to climb on to the penultimate rung on the ladder of enlightenment.
And what's that?
Take a vacation.
I beg your pardon?
Clean your glasses. Look away. Think of something else. Look up to the heavens. Scratch your head. Anything that will let you see things in a different light. Because how often do we miss something important which is obvious from a distance?
But supposing we've done that and still think that this is the right move, can we go ahead and do it?
Yes, then you may. That is the 7th and last rung.
Hey, why is that ball glowing?
Because it's a crystal ball, and that's what they do. When they glow green, it means that things are looking good for you. If they glow red, it means that you're in danger and there are dark clouds on the horizon.
What about if it doesn't glow at all but just stays white?
Then the game is pretty much even. And here's a rhyme I want you to remember. It'll help you make the right decisions in future. What has changed here? Where is danger at hand? What is my aim? Which moves can I plan? I'll consider these moves. That's quite a tough test. And when I'm quite certain, I'll step back, take a rest, and then make the move which I think is the best.
That rhyme is a very good way to get your thoughts organized. I thoroughly recommend it. You'll really play better if you do what it says.
Okay, let's try it out. What do we have to do?
Once you've looked at everything very carefully, click on the magic cards to continue. First rung. What has changed here? Think about it and then click on the cards. Second rung. Where is danger at hand? Once you have considered everything, click on the cards to continue. Third rung. What is my aim?
That's obvious, isn't it?
Not so fast, my dear. Fourth rung. Which moves can I plan?
There are quite a few.
Good. Then show me these moves by making them.
But what if I make a mistake?
That doesn't matter. Click on the star next to the wrong move and make the move again. Fifth rung. I'll consider these moves. Click on what you think of the moves. The plus sign means good move. The minus sign means bad move.
And I suppose 0 means half good and half bad.
Exactly. When you're ready, click on the pack of cards. Are you ready? Then click on the pack of cards and the game can continue. Sixth rung. And when I'm quite certain, I'll step back, take a rest.
Or I'll take off my glasses.
This is what is known as a brain vacation.
And then you can finally click on the magic cards. Seventh rung. And then make the move which I think is the best.
Phew! At long last.
I see that you have looked wisely into the future. Looking into the future isn't easy, but it isn't impossible either. If you dare venture a glance, then click on the magic cards to continue.
That's amazing, don't you think?
Once you've looked at everything very carefully, click on the magic cards to continue. What has changed here? Where is danger at hand? What is my aim? Which moves can I plan? I'll consider these moves. And when I'm quite certain, I'll step back, take a rest, and then make the move which I think is the best. The cards agree. You chose exactly the right move.
Checkmate.
Once you've looked at everything very carefully, click on the magic cards to continue. What has changed here? Where is danger at hand? What is my aim? Which moves can I plan? I'll consider these moves. And when I'm quite certain, I'll step back, take a rest, and then make the move which I think is the best. The cards never lie, and the stars are in your favor. That was good. The stars are in your favor. You shall have a reward.
Isn't that cute? A chubby dog for King High and Mighty. The perfect one for him.
Check and mate and over and out. We should now have a total of 16 chess chubbies, shouldn't we? One for each of the kings. Come on, let's go and see if that's right.
Wonderful! You are simply wonderful! Now each of my guests has a new chess chubby, and we can all be happy again. Thank you both. Thank you.
Don't mention it.
That's strange. They don't really look very happy.
What's the matter with them now, the old crybabies?
Do you know what I think? They've realized that their new chubbies are not actually the real ones.
What do you mean?
Because these ones are all white. And the chess chubbies that King Black got off them were all purple.
Oh, so that's what he meant all the time when he was talking about our mistake.
I've really had enough now. Come on, Fritz. Let's go over to him and give him a good piece of our mind. I don't care if we end up having to fight a duel with him either.
Ha ha ha! So you've realized it's not quite so easy, have you?
Come on, you big bully. Give the kings their chess chubbies back now. And I mean the real ones, the purple ones.
Hold on a minute. They are mine, all mine. I didn't steal them, but won them by completely honest means. However, you can try to win them back too, if you dare.
Watch out, Bianca. That's just what the old cheat wants, to fight a duel with us.
So, of course we'll play against him. We bet that you won't beat us in this game of chubby karate.
Bianca!
It's a deal. What are the stakes?
We'll put down all of the white chess chubbies we've won at the Pleasantville Village Fair, and you have to put down all the purple ones, or you can forget the whole thing.
Anything you say. Ha 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 ha! Let's start dueling. I can't wait. Ha 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 ha!
And supposing we lose?
Nonsense! We're winners, not losers. And by the way, we're going to start too.
But I'm not playing against him for more than 10 minutes.
The expert against the 7 dwarves. What a joke! Ha! Take that!
We were going to auction that one off anyway.
Boing! That was good.
Do something.
Because you're in check.
I do declare check. Off you go.
Go on, defend yourself, you coward. Check!
Well, what do you say now?
Greedy guts.
We've won! The purple chubbies are ours.
Those poor old kings are going to be so happy.
Drat and double drat! What on earth did I do wrong?
That's quite simple. You played against us.
You are the greatest, my dears. All of the kings have their chess chubbies back. Everyone's happy, so happy you see that chubbies are back. Hooray and yippee!
Hey, look. There's Chester's Flea.
What was that? What? Hey, I've got an itch! Flaming!
And now
fiddlesticks,
everyone's
that
got what
itches.
he deserves.
Help! Shoot!
In
Go
the
away.
end,
Ouch.
good will always
Flipping
triumph
flea.
over evil.
Oh, no! Ouch! I've just been bitten on my... Drat!
There once was a flea,
Inside a king's gown
and it bit him so much.
that he couldn't sit down.
Come on, Fritz. Let's play a bit more chubby karate chess thingy, just for fun.
Good idea. What do you think, Bianca? Who shall we play against? Chester or King K? Or maybe against a friend or King Black?
I think the chess chubby team is really cute. You decide. This is my organizer. I've written down the most important chess rules in it. A fork is when a piece is attacking two other pieces at the same time. That can be a real pain, especially if the king is being threatened, like he is here. Purple has to move him away, and the knight can now capture the queen. This is called a skewer. The bishop is attacking the rook and is skewering him, so to speak. That's a real pain for purple, because whatever he does, the white bishop will get a rook on the next move. Here are a few golden rules for the opening. That is, for the beginning of a game. And here are all the rules of notation.
Are you fritzed out already?
I wonder where your flea is, Chester.
No idea. Hang on a sec. There it is.
Hey, Flea, come back here now. Heel, heel.
Now, leave him alone, Fritz. I think he's doing a great job.
Get lost! Scram! Ah! I can't bear it! Ouch! Where's my stink cream? Why am I always so stupid and end up challenging Fritz and his cousin over and over again? They're just too good for me. Next time I'd better duel with King Kaleidoscope. At least I stand a chance against him. Flipping Flea! Now I've been bitten. Ow! Darn! Leave me alone!